Starring Glen Powell, who most will know from the recent release Anyone But You. In this Netflix release, he plays an everyday guy thrust into pretending to be a hitman for the New Orleans Police Department in a movie based on an actual real person. So to summarize the film, some may deem Gary Johnson to be completely unremarkable. While a psychology and philosophy professor at the University of New Orleans, no one took note of him. He was nice, he didn't garner much in the way of attention. Even with working with the police to take down people trying to hire hitmen, he was unsuspecting. In fact, the only living things in his personal life that really took note of him was his ex-wife, who moved on, got pregnant by a different guy at this point, and his 2 cats. But after a gentleman named Jasper messing up his job a bit, we find Gary getting thrust into being part of the sting operations, not as a listening in consultant type, but instead as playing the would-be hitman to get people to confess. And honestly, Gary finds his mojo. Unfortunately though, one of the potential culprits, Madison, he falls for, and the feelings seem to be mutual, and this leaves you to wonder, will the philosophy and psychology professor pursue something which comes off a bit unethical with someone who was about to hire a contract killer to kill her ex-husband? So, getting to the review section, the highlight for this film is definitely Gary and Madison's chemistry. From the banter to how playful they are with each other, Gary and Madison completely drive this film, and their scenes together, whether tantalizing, simulated sex acts, or them going on dates and being silly, it keeps Hitman from feeling too long, for the most part. The second highlight for us is that it really pushes you to want to read Skip Hollandsworth's pieces that the inspiration behind this movie, because Gary, to imagine this being a real person, this is one of those few examples of when something says it's based on a real story where you actually want to know what the real story is. And not because you had to suspend your disbelief or something sounded too stupid to be real, but because it sounds truly intriguing to the point where you want to do follow-up. But with all that said, an offense topic for this is that sometimes the film, if not just scenes, kind of overstay their welcome. For as much as Gary and Madison are a highlight and seeing Gary set up people looking for hitmen, there are many times a scene can feel like it goes on too long. I'd even say it can feel like someone is slowly but surely pressing on the brakes, and a prime example would be Madison and Gary's first date, or meeting rather. The chemistry is established, and you begin to fall for them, but then the scene keeps going on, and it almost feels like you're watching a director's cut where they don't know that, hey, you got what you needed from the scene, let's move on. Another example would be when you throw in Gary's lectures and the scene where he's working with members of the New Orleans Police Department, it does feel like the thing that sells this movie, which is Gary doing these hitman scenes or him being with Madison, they know that's a highlight. They know they have to also kind of build up to that, and unfortunately that build up doesn't feel like it's just a cruise on a plateau or downhill in a good way, but instead it's an uphill battle, which slows down the movie to the point where sometimes you're gonna want to check how much time is left to this. But overall, between Glen Powell playing multiple personalities and the romance he shares with, I'm probably gonna butcher her name, but Adria Arjona, I feel like the combination allows Hitman to be a potential hit for Netflix, hence why I got a theatrical release. And I could even imagine them trying to create a sequel, which I'm not saying this film perfectly sets up, but there's enough room there to potentially do it.